Simone Inzaghi sends a message. All eyes on Napoli at the weekend. What's good, guys? Welcome back on the Uncle Sharma channel. We're here to talk about Simone Inzaghi's press conferences and the latest news ahead of the Inter Arsenal game tomorrow. It's going to be a juicy one, but today we've also got other Champions League games. Which one are you guys tuning into? Are you going to watch our cousins, AC Milan, potentially getting battered by Real Madrid, or any other games that you guys are interested in? But anyway, before we get into it, leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into what I want to talk about. As I said, Simone Inzaghi had his press conference today alongside Matti Doms, Matteo Darmian, and he had a few interesting things to say about it and some lies. This is one of his biggest lies that he's said since he's come to Inter. He said, shout out to Inter Extra, by the way, of course, for the translations, and Daniele Mari for the original tweet. Inzaghi says, I'm not thinking about Napoli. Sure, Simone. Sure. For example, if Bastoni is okay tomorrow, he will play. I didn't test him today because he wasn't 100%, but he told me, Mister, tomorrow I'm 100% there. Today I had a light training session without a tactical match. So, ignoring the second part about Bastoni, he is thinking about Napoli because this is Inter's predicted lineup for tomorrow, guys. You tell me if this is not thinking about Napoli. You tell me, guys. That's thinking about Napoli. Heavy rotation, more heavy rotation than I expected and I predicted. If you guys watched my preview yesterday with James from AFTV, make sure you check that out. We're 24 hours away from kickoff. Beautiful time to check out that preview that we did with an Arsenal fan. I predicted Mehdi Taremi to start because we know that he's kind of part of the Champions League squad. And I predicted, even though we know that Mkhitaryan and never ever rests, but I thought this is the Champions League. And if we go back to the Man City game, I thought he's going to put out the Man City squad. And I was almost right, but it seems like actually Simone is rotating even heavier than originally thought. No Barella. That's the most eye-catching thing to me. So Frattesi, we know that Barella has played a lot of football recently, back to back to back, 90 minutes or almost 90 minutes. So it's not surprising too much, but at the same time, against Arsenal, you want to win the midfield battle. But again, this points to Simone Inzaghi prioritizing the Serie A. And I know that will be controversial for some of you. Some of you guys really, really want to do well in this game. I also do because it's Arsenal. We want to shut up the Prem tards. We want to also, of course, bring some gravitas, some respect to Inter and Serie A. But at the same time, we are still not top of Serie A. We have Napoli at the weekend, the current leaders, and Antonio Conte Napoli, one of the best league managers around, not just in Serie A, in the world of football. You know that once that guy, if he starts creating a gap at the top of the table, he will not let up. You saw that this focus was also confirmed at the weekend. The performance didn't confirm it, but this lineup definitely did, guys. Inzaghi did pretty much zero rotation for the Venezia game. I was expecting some rotation, and I was like bragging before that game, like, oh yeah, I feel like I've got to know Inzaghi. I know that he's gonna go heavy on Empoli, and then we will kind of rotate against Venezia. But no, Inzaghi, he heard me, said, "Oh, you think you know me, brother? You think you know me? We'll have a bit of this." But actually, and today again, I thought I knew him, but then he went even one step ahead on putting Bisek and Darmian on the left wing back position. Now, this is the position and the side that I have a worry on because you're talking about two right-footed players playing on the left-hand side. Now, Bisek himself in the past, very recently, he was asked about, which position at the back he prefers. And he says, I've played most of my career as a left centre back. When he was in Denmark, he was playing as a left centre back in the three. And he says he prefers that. So it's not too much my worry about that. And of course, maybe he's had a few mistakes this season, Bisek. Although there's news coming out today that looks like Inter want to extend his contract, which good news, just securing the future of these young talented players. But having him, he isn't left footed. His left foot's decent, and having him alongside Matty Dams, who already, his output, attacking output, is already pretty poor on the right hand side. So on the left hand side is going to be even less. But I'm guessing the reason why he's done that, and his two right footed players, might be also a tactical reason in terms of handling Bukayo Saka, Arsenal's most important player in terms of attacking. He is their outlet in terms of assisting, crossing, goals as well, cutting in on his left foot. That guy is an absolute beast. And but he is very, very left footed. He loves to cut in on his left foot. Having two guys with a right foot to accompany him, ready to accompany him on the inside with the right foot rather than a left footer who's going to be more comfortable taking them towards the outside, could be interesting. Could be an interesting tactical decision from Inzaghi. But both wings, the build up on both wings will not be good. The triangle on the right hand side, only Pavard is good technically in terms of ball carrying and technical security. Dumfries and Frattesi, oh my goodness, that is going to be painful to watch them trying to link up. The triangle on the left hand side isn't too bad in terms of Bisek, Zielinski, Darmian, but because none of them, only Zielinski is really ambidextrous. Um, I hope Inzaghi's tactic is not to try to play out from the back. I hope if Mehdi Tarami's come in, there might be a little bit more balls over the top into space because Arsenal probably might try to press us a little bit as well. They are a team that's quite flexible in terms of a high press, but they can also sit back and be terrorists as well. So if they press us, I hope we don't play out and try to force playing out from the back, especially without Alessandro Bastoni, as Simone confirmed. He's not injured, but we saw him at the end of the Venezia game or around the 70th minute of the Venezia game. He pulled up with a cramp in today's training. You can see the picture there. He's wearing a little bandage on his calf. So again, he's not injured, but of course, a cramp means overusage, fatigue, and it's good that maybe he needs to rest ahead of that Napoli game. It's a good decision there. Bit of pre-tactic as well from Simone in terms of calling Arsenal one of the favorites, one of the top four favorites for the UCL, alongside Madrid, Man City, Bayern Munich. What do you guys think of that? Is that pre-tactic, or do you agree with that? I would put him in there. I would put Arsenal in there, but they definitely don't have the same heritage in this league, in the Champions League for sure, compared to those other teams. I would probably put Liverpool ahead of Arsenal if it was an English team, to be honest. But maybe it's a bit of a Inzaghi bigging them up ahead of the game. Thuram, it looks like he's resting tomorrow, and he says, yeah, he's recovered, but he has played a lot with Thuram, so yeah, makes sense. But I've seen some things that I do not agree with from his match against Venezia. Yeah, I mean, that was probably one of his worst, if not the worst, performance of Thuram in an Inter shirt. So wasteful, really, really bad. Arsenal will be fired up after the latest defeats. So yeah, Arsenal not in the greatest form. But you saw us after the derby. We've had 7 wins and a draw, which is very, very true. Very, very true. And now this was an interesting part, guys. If you're a Simone Inzaghi fanboy, hold on to your seat. He admitted, and we know that this is true, even from his Lazio time, actually said that I won't deny, there was a possibility of going to England. I was happy at Lazio, and now I'm happy at Inter, which is also proven by his recent renewal, by the way. Yes, it intrigues me, but right now I'm a Inter, and I am happy. As for the future, nothing is certain. Now, this is nice that he said this, but I think at some point, Simone will have to grace the cold land of England. My ends over here. It's just the football pyramid right now. Unfortunately, this is where the money's at. The EPL. This is where he'll finally be given budget to spend money eventually, whichever team he picks. But hopefully, not anytime soon. But he's admitted that it does intrigue him, and it's interesting that it was also before he signed for Inter. Like we knew that since he's at Inter, he was looked at by English teams, but seems like it was also before. Again, is asked about the which one does he prefer, beating Arsenal or Napoli, but he says the focus only on tomorrow. They're a great team. Again, lying. I don't think there will be much rotation, brother. You're rotating like 5 starters here. But you made a good point. We've had 3 big matches after every Champions League match. Milan, Juve, and then this tomorrow, as in Napoli after this game. So very good point. And then Arnautovic, you said actually Arnautovic, let me see, yeah, so, he's not played since that Young Boys match, but he says it's because of an eye infection for the past day. Otherwise, he would have seen him on the pitch. I don't know if that's a threat to us. Um, and he says he will see how Arnautovic is doing tomorrow, but Taremi is the freshest. And yeah, I think he should be starting. And yeah, Darmian, I don't think there's nothing really too much to see into what Darmian talked about. This was an interesting point. Yeah, he said, Premier League, there are less tactics. So it seems like the games are faster. When English teams face Italian teams, they struggle. We will try to play our game tomorrow, respecting Arsenal. I don't know how true that statement is. I think maybe recently a bit better, but especially over the last few decades, I think Italian teams don't really fare too well against the English teams. But the point about, of course, Premier League being less tactical, but Arsenal definitely not one of those teams. Arsenal, a very tactical, pragmatic team. And yeah, he said, it's not just Saka. There are many attacking players, but definitely we're going to have to look out for Saka. And the other, point to talk about, if Odegaard starts, that Bisek, Darmian, Zielinski side becomes even more important. Of course, held by Chanalolu as well. If Odegaard starts, their captain, who is an injury doubt, he is back in training today, but whether he starts, he is a very pivotal player. So if he and Saka combine on that side, that might be also another reason to Inzaghi going for these 2 right footers to contain 2 left footers on that side. But yeah, looking forward to it as the tie gets closer now. Of course, with this heavy rotation, even with Arsenal, there might be also some forced rotation. We know that Calafiori is out, but also Declan Rice will be out. He's ducking the Hakan test tomorrow. Declan Rice is out. So yeah, it might not be the best teams, and definitely not the best form from both teams at the moment. So it might not be as exciting of a match as we thought initially. I think it might be one of those boring draws, but still looking forward to it. You guys let me know down in the comments below what you make of it all, your predictions, and what Inzaghi said. Who would you start? Do you agree with it? Do you agree on the focus on the league? Or would you go all in for Arsenal tomorrow? Leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Ciao ragazzi, Forza Inter. See you tomorrow.